I'd like to make a bet with each of you out there, and the bet is for $1 million. And I'm willing to bet that none of you has had as much of a bad day, as the runner in the yellow jersey. Now, wait a minute. Before you run and try and collect from me, let me tell you the story about the runner in the yellow jersey. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. The yellow jersey runner that I'm going to talk about is a true story. In the 2016 Tour de France, this individual was leading the race. Who here is familiar with the Tour de France? The Tour de France is perhaps one of the most competitive and challenging and well-regarded tours in all of cycling. It's been going since 1903. Mostly it's in France. However, it's also in other countries as well. They dip into countries. These riders, 22 teams, 8 persons per team, race through the hills, through rain, through hailstorms, through blistering heat, all to win the coveted yellow jersey as they ride into Paris. Each day, the runners are awarded points and recognition for their various disciplines, but the overall leader is the one who wears the yellow jersey. Now, the yellow jersey is wonderful, especially for spectators, because if they don't know who's leading the race, all they have to do is look for the rider in the yellow jersey. And the rider in the yellow jersey, at the point I'm talking about, stage 13 of the 23 stages, was Chris Froome. Chris was riding along, and he was in that yellow jersey for a number of days, but he was in the mountains at this point in time. Up on Mount Ventoux in France. He had escaped in a breakaway with one other rider. The other rider was Richie Porte on another team. These two riders traded leads, one ahead, the other ahead. Finally, Richie Porte was ahead. Chris Froome hot on his tail, and a third rider behind them. Unfortunately for Richie Porte, he had his head down and was pedaling like mad. He didn't see the motorcycle with the cameraman in front of him. Consequently, boom, down he went. Richie Porte went down. That took down the yellow jersey rider, Chris Froome. And then the third rider cartwheeled with his red bike on top of Chris Froome. What a catastrophe. Dazed and confused, Froome got up. The other two riders were able to get their bikes and get back into the race. Chris Froome, unfortunately, was losing time, precious seconds. He looked for his bike, and lo and behold, around another corner, the police motorcycle ran over his $7,000 racing bike. So without a bike, dazed and confused, Chris Froome didn't know what to do. He thought about it for a minute, and then lo and behold, he began to run. Well, this is a bike race. You can't run in a bike race. The spectators were cheering him on just as though he was pedaling. But the only thing he was pedaling was his feet on the ground. After a short time, he stopped and managed to borrow a bike. But the bike he got was not the bike he was used to. Instead of being super fast, it was super slow. Riders less his skill were passing him by as he looked on in dismay. Finally, he got his bike back and was able to get back into the race. He just kept pedaling. pedaling. He was so upset, so demoralized, but his fortitude saw him through. With his cuts, with his injuries, with the holes in his clothes, he managed to finish the race. He finished the race, and the race directors looked at the big fat French Tour de France rule book, which weighs about as much as a dictionary, and they figured that the three riders, Hort, Froome, and the other rider, would all have the same time that day. So he went on eventually over the next week and a half to actually win the Tour de France and wear that yellow jersey into Paris on the very last day of racing. It was a great achievement. One I will always remember because I watch it on TV, and to see him running, it was incredible. And all the commentators said, we've never seen anything like this. And it shows great perseverance, stamina, and fortitude. When I ride my bike on the Burke-Gilman Trail, sometimes I'm headed towards Redmond, and the wind is in my face, and I decide to ride as fast as I can, and the pressure on my legs is getting to be too much. And I think of the runner in the yellow jersey. In those moments, I just keep pedaling. Just keep pedaling. Madam Toastmaster.